Horror and comedy are two genres that, when blended well, can create some of the most entertaining and memorable experiences in film and television. The key is balance. Too much horror and it loses the comedic charm, too much comedy and it stops being scary. This is a tricky formula, which is probably why horror comedies are such a rarity. Sure, we've had a few over the years. Classic films like Evil Dead 2, Reanimator, Shaun of the Dead and Tucker and Dale vs. Evil have all nailed the mix of blood, guts and laughs. TV has had even fewer successful attempts, but when it works, it really works. Ash vs. Evil Dead brought the horror icon back with all the over-the-top gore and wisecracks fans love. Scream Queens gave us a satirical slasher series packed with dark humor. Even Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, had a good dose of horror comedy throughout its run. But despite these examples, horror comedy has remained one of the most underutilized genres in television, which is a shame because when done right, it delivers something no other genre can. Pure, chaotic fun. Welcome to the Snake Pit, where we're full of bile and venom. I'm your host, Snake Daemon, and today we're looking at one of the most overlooked horror comedy series out there. One of those very few post-2010 series I'm prepared to check out, Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. The premise alone is enough to grab your attention. A group of high school misfits stumble upon a cursed book that grants wishes in the most horrifyingly disastrous ways possible. Every episode features some poor student at Crowley High using the Book of Pure Evil to fix their problems, only to have their wish twisted into something monstrous, usually resulting in absurd levels of gore and chaos. Whether it's a bullied kid turning into a monstrous rock god or a metalhead trying to summon Satan with disastrous results. The show never fails to take the most ridiculous ideas and run with them full speed. It's like if Buffy was more R-rated and completely unhinged, with a dash of Evil Dead's over-the-top insanity. What makes Todd and the Book of Pure Evil stand out is that it doesn't just dip its toes into horror comedy, it dives in head first, reveling in its absurdity. The acting is purposely over the top, the special effects are gloriously bad in the best way, and the humor is as raunchy and self-aware as it gets. It never takes itself seriously, and that's what makes it work. The show leans into classic horror tropes, possessions, mutations, satanic cults, but turns them into absolute comedic gold. It even has the perfect friendly villain in the form of the school guidance counselor Atticus Murphy Jr., who is secretly a satanic cultist, but also kind of pathetic at his job. It's rare to find a show that embraces its ridiculousness to this level and still manages to be genuinely entertaining. Every episode has that Evil Dead vibe, completely over the top, but with just enough clever writing and character moments to keep you hooked. And let's not forget the music. This show leans heavily into metal culture, from the soundtrack to the aesthetic, and it adds to the sheer chaos of it all. Of course, in typical fashion, this was yet another show that was killed off way too soon. After just 2 seasons, Todd and the Book of Pure Evil was cancelled, leaving fans hanging. Fortunately, the creators didn't leave us completely in the lurch. After a successful crowdfunding campaign, they managed to release an animated film, Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, The End of the End, to wrap up the story. It's not quite the same as getting a full 3rd season, but at least it gave fans some closure. It's a shame more people haven't seen Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, because it truly deserves to be mentioned alongside some of the best horror comedies out there. If you love blood-soaked absurdity, crude humor, and a show that gleefully makes fun of itself, this is one you need to check out. It's the kind of series that was clearly made by people who loved horror and knew how to make it hilarious. And in a world where most TV is either too self-serious or completely lifeless, something this fun and outrageous is a rare treat. Thanks for dropping by the Snake Pit, where we thrive on untapped potential and lost opportunities. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, like the video, and leave your opinions in the comments, where, naturally, I won't read them. Until next time, stay venomous.